sweet silver bells all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, meek and the bold. Ding dong, that is the song with joyful ring, all caroling. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, how they bound, raising their sound. Oh, hill and dale, telling the tale. Gaily they ring, while people sing songs of good cheer. Christmas is here. Merry, 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 merry Christmas. Merry, merry, merry Christmas. All listened, all without end, their joyful tone to every home. Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw.
Hello, good morning, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of Vlogmas. Today is December 19th. Where is this month gone? Seriously. I can't even believe it. So I have 30 minutes left in the audiobook that I'm currently reading, which is Lotus by Jennifer Hartman. And I have a lot of conflicting feelings about that I really want to talk about, but I want to see how the last 30 minutes plays out, because I feel like that's really going to determine what my final rating is, but I am excited to talk about that one. So this is just going to be a really quick introductory clip where we're going to taste today's teas, and then later on, once I finish the book, I'll come back and we'll talk about Lotus, and I have some other teas that I need to taste for you because I didn't vlog yesterday, and then there's another day that I need to make up for. That I'm actually really excited about those teas. So today, December 19th, right here, our David's tea doesn't smell very good. It's organic 9 berries. I opened it up and it just smells very tart, so I'm curious about that. At least it's not going to be overly sweet. And the Adagio Tea is Earl Grey Bella Luna. There we go. Which I am excited about because that one was a really pretty tea. It has like it had little flower petals in it, like blue. It has blue cornflowers, coconut. It has coconut in it. I'm excited about that. Okay, so here we go. As usual, we are going to taste the David's tea first. I think that it's interesting that this entire month so far, I have not had a David's tea that I have rated higher than the Adagio. So here's our pretty glass mug. It smells weird. Kind of has a footy smell. It's super tart, which is kind of pleasant. Because I'm so used to their super sweet teas. Also, do you like my sweatshirt? I've had this sweatshirt for a long time, but I almost always wear my black sweatshirts. But it says, canceling all my plans to read another book. It's adorable. It's from Hello Lovely Box. So, this is weird. I don't hate it, that's for sure. That's probably one of the more interesting teas of theirs. Like, it's very complex, surprisingly. Like, it has a lot of different flavors going on. I like that. Would I buy that? No. I don't love it that much. So now we have so another interesting thing about that one is, like, I use the same amount of sweetener every single day in these teas. I just put 1 packet of stevia in. And, like, you can't taste the sweetness at all, hardly, in that one. So it's interesting to me that a lot of their teas, I don't know if they have sugar in them or why they're so sweet. They must have sugar in them, which is kind of disappointing. Okay, so now this is the Bella Luna. It smells so good. A little tiny, like, citrusy, but also coconut. That's really good. Very interesting flavor. I also don't love this one though. It's not terrible. Like, it's not terrible at all. But I think that, like, it must be the bergamot. It has bergamot flavor in here. I don't really love that flavor, but I do really love the coconut. So this is good. That's not a flavor I would buy either, though. But, I mean, of the two of them, at the Adagio, this one, the Bella Luna, is definitely my favorite, so. Alright, there is today's tea tasting. It's Sunday, so I'm not working. I'm gonna definitely finish Lotus, and then I'm also reading The Bully by Sophie Lark. This is book 3 in her Kingmaker series that I have been working my way towards reading backlist books to get to this one so I could read it, and I'm very excited about that. So hopefully I want to read, if not finish that, do a large chunk of that because I don't have to work, so I can just read that. And then I think I'm gonna maybe make some gingerbread houses with my family later. So I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, I'll come back once I've finished Lotus and review it and taste some more tea. So see y'all in a bit. Hello, my friends. We are here for some more tea tasting and a book update. So, this tea was from December 16th. I don't know, I skipped around a few days, apparently, because I didn't film every single day. So, we have the David's tea is strawberry rhubarb parfait. And honestly, it smells like a berries and cream lifesaver. And then the Adagio tea is candy cane, which I'm excited about because it smells delicious. Also, fun fact, as I've been reading all the ingredient labels, this one has candy cane pieces, peppermint leaves, and natural candy cane flavor. Is there natural candy canes that I don't know about? Kazi's being very sweet. He's brought me his toy and he just laying here so I can cuddle him. Hi, sweet boy. He's gonna get a haircut tomorrow if all goes well. He's a little floofy monster. Okay, so let's taste the strawberry rhubarb parfait, but it's actually legit. It just smells like berries and cream and it smells really sweet. It's hot. I just barely finished it. Yeah, that not only smells like a berries and cream lifesaver, but it also tastes like it. So, weird choice for a tea. Oh, yeah, that. Now let's do the candy cane tea. I'm very excited about this one. Smells super good. Hey, buddy. He's just laying on me, so I'll keep scratching his chin. That's fantastic. That is a winner. Very strong peppermint flavor, but so delicious. Like, I really love that one. Okay, that one is excellent. 10 out of 10. Super strong peppermint flavor, but very, very good. So it's like super different to come from the very sweet candy taste of the berries and cream to go to that really strong peppermint one, but I like it a lot. So, okay, the book I read, Lotus, by Jennifer Hartman. So, I picked this up thinking this was going to be a dark romance, and I think because this was recommended by Pam Godwin, who writes some very dark romances, her Deliver series is extremely dark, extremely dark. I definitely had my expectations set for this to be pretty dark, and it's really not at all. I think that the dark aspect of this is really just the trauma that the characters have gone through. The hero, Oliver, was friends with the heroine Sydney when they were kids. They were like 8 years old, and he was kidnapped, and they never found him. And they assumed that he was dead, that he didn't survive, and then 22 years later, he's discovered again. He gets free, and he comes back to his, I think, stepbrother, or maybe, I don't think they're actual brothers. I think it's maybe a stepbrother. Maybe they are brothers. Anyway, and he's best friends with Sydney, and so he's back in their life again. And so he was kept underground for 22 years. His kidnapper told him that basically there was, like, an atomic bomb that happened, and so there was nothing up there, that they were, like, the last people on the earth. So this young boy believes him. He has no reason not to, because all of the signs are pointing to, yeah, that's what is happening. So he's definitely led a very sheltered life, and his life experiences are shaped at 30 years old by the only media he was able to consume when he was down there. So, like, very, very limited. Like, he has a big obsession with The Princess Bride, which sort of shapes and develops how he views romance and love stories and heroic behavior. And, you know, he is very, like, well-read on, like, intellectual stuff, like things you would learn in school, like science and things like that. But as far as it comes to, like, interacting with human behavior, he didn't really learn that through application or through study. So it was, so basically he comes back to town, and it's his and Sydney's love story. They're trying to sort of not really figure out what happened to him. Like, they're not really trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure out who did it. They don't know who was responsible for it. But that's like a very minimal plot point. Like, the overwhelming story in here, which I'm not complaining about, is a very soft, very sweet romance between Sydney and Oliver. Oliver is a sweetheart. He is a complete cinnamon roll hero. He's very submissive. He's a virgin hero, obviously. He's just a beautifully whole, surprisingly whole person who doesn't really seem to have an outward display of the trauma that he has suffered, you know? Sydney, so I loved Oliver. Sydney was a character that was difficult for me. It definitely felt like her interactions with Oliver were very selfish, and any time that, you know, they talked about progressing their relationship further, or any time that Oliver talked about, you know, maybe having opportunities for a job in different areas, like, she immediately took that as, you're going to leave me, and the implication was that she was very traumatized by him leaving at 8 years old. Like, he was kidnapped, he didn't just leave you, and it just felt like her behavior, like, she was the one with the really behavior that would seem to show up from someone who had experienced trauma while not going through that trauma, you know what I mean? So I really didn't love her a whole lot. I felt like she wasn't necessarily as understanding and supportive of Oliver as I would have liked, especially considering how Oliver was so willing to just do whatever it took to make her happy. You know, it just seemed like their relationship was very much all about her happiness. And that just seemed weird to me because it was literally like Oliver was the one who had suffered the trauma, you know? So that was a little bit weird. Especially there was one part where it was sort of like, it wasn't the final act conflict, but it was a moment of conflict in their relationship. And she seemed to really overreact about something that didn't seem justified. And I don't know, I didn't love that. But they did have some really sweet and beautiful moments too. Like, it wasn't all bad. Like, I'm not trying to say that this was all bad, but I am trying to say, like, there were parts of this book that I really loved and that I really enjoyed. I really loved just the soft, sweet love story. But there were also parts of it that had me, like, keep knocking it down from 5 stars, you know? So I posted my Goodreads review and I rated it as 4 stars, but I feel like it's really in between 3 and 4. Like, some parts of it are 4-star, the lovely soft romance. Some parts of it are 3-star, Sydney's behavior. Some things with, like, Oliver just didn't add up to me, like how he seemed to have led this very sheltered life, and then he comes up to the real world, and it just seemed like he had more knowledge and more insight into human behavior and relationships than I would have expected him to. But then the author would, like, pull it back and make him do something that was so unbelievably naive that I was just like, this doesn't add up. Like I wish that she had handled that a little more, with a little more subtlety, so that he wasn't just, like, going back and forth. And in general, that's something that I really don't like in books. And I feel like the subgenre that can most lean into this is dark romance, where there's just this big gap between a dramatic moment or a dramatic event, something that is dramatic, and then they immediately switch back to something that is not, you know? And I just don't love that. So I felt like that was a little unrealistic for me about his character, how he had these moments where he seemed to be like this very well-adjusted human who, you know, a 30-year-old man who had had life experiences leading him to that point. But then again, like, she would, in just a few pages, she would revert him back to, like, he had no knowledge of relationships or how they worked. So it was just a little weird. That was a little weird. I didn't like that. So basically that is my overall critique, the things that bugged me the most, the things that I loved the most. Like, it really was a very sweet love story. I wouldn't say that this was dark. There really was nothing dark romance about their relationship, because their relationship was really pure and sweet. The dark elements are just what Oliver had gone through, which really weren't super dark. So I was thinking it was going to be a 3-star read, because I really wasn't loving it. I was frustrated a lot at Sydney and how he seemed to be more knowledgeable than I would have expected him to. But then the ending was really pretty beautiful, and there were a few things at the ending that surprised me that I really loved, and so that kind of made me bump it up a little to like a 3.5, almost 4. I did round it up to a 4 on Goodreads, but yeah, so I'm a little disappointed with that, because I was definitely expecting something different, but I also had my expectations pretty high. I love Pam Godwin. She is one of my favorite authors. I think she handles dark topics so well, with so much nuance and so many layers, and she really explores relationship issues that nobody else does the same way. So I think that when she recommended this author, I was like, this is gonna be good, you know? So I had this vision for what it was gonna be, and that's probably my fault, because it was, my expectations were not met at all. But also, this book came out in April of this year, and now I'm really hesitant to go back and read other books of hers, just because, like, her writing style, she does that thing that I attribute to new writers or newer writers that often they'll grow out of as their writing gets better. Like, I've seen this happen in Sophie Lark's books, where some of her earlier books lean a little too heavy into the very dramatic to, you know, get attention and to sort of wow you or shock you, and then, like, whiplash. So you'll have way too much drama, and then you'll have the character do something that's totally, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm not explaining this well, but where they handle plot issues or dramatic elements in a way that's very over the top and also very underwhelming. And they do that back and forth, and it just feels like they don't have a great sense of balance for that. So I'm a little hesitant to pick up more books from her. I will at some point, I'm sure, but I'm not in any hurry to. Because if this is a book that she just released in this year, then I'm a little worried about maybe how her writing was in that way in her previous books. You know what I mean? I feel like that's something that I will usually pick up on right away, and it bothers me enough that it really kind of ruins my reading experience. So this one, yeah, 3.5 is probably 3.5. It's a solid 3.5 read. It was a beautiful love story, not without its issues. So that's what I'm reading. I also started another book, my audiobook that I am starting right now is The Naked Fisherman. I talked a few weeks ago on my Instagram about how covers are changing in historical romance, that some historical romance covers are getting remade with very cartoon paper doll cutout type of covers, which I don't like. I'm not a fan of. I want the glorious clinch covers to remain or to come back. And I was talking about that in books, and somebody mentioned, her name is Berry Nice, she mentioned The Naked Fisherman, that, yeah, it has a cartoon cover, and she wasn't expecting the book that she got, and she really loved it. And so I decided to pick that up. Berry Nice commented and said that this was a book with an illustrated cover that she wasn't sure what to expect or if she was going to love it, and she ended up absolutely loving it. So I got the audiobook on Audible. It was only like $7, and it's very short, so I started listening to that today. I'm not really that far into it to really even know what it's about. I kind of went into it blind. All I know is that the heroine, her mother was sent to prison, her father passed away early, and she was raised by her grandparents who were very conservatively Catholic, and they sent her to a Catholic school, so she has grown up extremely repressed, I guess. And so her mom gets out of prison, and she goes to visit her, and I guess her mother's landlord is this 28-year-old man who everyone calls the Naked Fisherman. I'm not sure why yet. So I'm intrigued. I'm definitely intrigued with this. I'm very excited. I hope that it will be a 5-star read, because I've honestly heard a few reviews of this, and they've all been really, really positive. So, and then the physical book that I'm reading is The Bully by Sophie Lark. This is book 3 in her Kingmaker series, and I'm this far into it, so only like 20% in, but my mind is kind of getting blown. Honestly, like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I feel like Sophie Lark, in some books in the Brutal Birthright series, which is the sort of like a prequel series to this series, Sophie Lark does that same thing that I was talking about that some newer authors do, where they kind of lean a little too heavy, like they put their foot down on the gas real hard on some very dramatic elements, and then they sort of whiplash you back to some that aren't, like, too much too soon, but then, like, they pull back. So there's not a lot of, like, subtlety happening there. And I feel like, especially with the first book in this series, I noticed a huge difference in her writing style. Even I would say the last book. Do I have it up here? Yeah, I do. I started to notice her writing really change in that way with this book, which is the last book in the Brutal Birthright series, where I feel like she was much better about really developing characters in a more subtle way, and even like their interactions. So she would still hit you with those very dramatic moments, but it was very cleverly done, and things were really like set up to lead you there, but you didn't realize it until you got there, which I freaking love. So that's exactly what's happening here. I'm very excited about this. This is a bully romance, which I typically do not like at all. But I will say, having read Dean's character arc a little bit in the previous 2 books, I'm extremely invested in him. I really want to see his redemption arc. There are some really fantastic and hot scenes between him and the heroine, who I'm not going to reveal because I don't want to spoil books 2 and 1. So I don't know that I'm going to talk much in detail about this series, but, like, this is Dean's book. It's fantastic so far. I was very nervous, honestly, but I am wowed already, and I can't wait to read more. So this is the priority to physically read, because there is no audiobook for this, sadly. And then The Naked Fisherman will be my audio. So I'll keep y'all updated as I progress and finish those. I'm not sure. Maybe I will just finish this vlog here and quickly edit it and get it up, because Christmas is almost here, y'all. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to end this vlog here. We'll do a really quick edit and hopefully have that up for you tomorrow, which will be the 20th. And then I'll see y'all in my next Vlogmas video, where hopefully I have finished The Bully and The Naked Fisherman. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave me a Christmas tree if you would love to leave me an emoji or any comments. I love to hear from y'all. Thank you so much for watching and joining me on this Vlogmas journey. It's been a ton of fun.